Okay, well, some of you might have been wondering what's happened to my Phase 1 test flight videos over the last couple months. Did we fall off the face of the earth? Did we crash? Did we get bored? What was the deal? Well, actually, over the last couple of months, I did get 2 flights on the airplane that I did not video because I didn't really consider them part of my Phase 1. First week of May, I took the aircraft over to Aurora Airport here to get the transponder check done on it, and we failed because we had a cracked fitting on the back of the VSI, which had a pretty good static leak to it. So the guys out there at Luminaire Avionics, Jeremy, they handed me some fittings and some tubing, said we kind of like you to change a few things anyway, so they sent me back home to do the work. I'm not sure if it was when I was leaving Aurora or coming back in here to Lewis on the landing, but on the landing all heck kind of broke loose with the tail wheel. I'm not exactly sure what happened that caused it to feel like I had a brake that locked up initially, but we were able to keep the airplane straight. Once I turned off onto the taxiway, though, I could tell right away I had broken, lost the steering wheel, the tail wheel chain. So, with what used to be the teardrop shape spring steel type clips, we got rid of those. We replaced both chains, and then we went to these barrel links, which hopefully are going to not break. I don't think they will. I think the weak part of this whole thing now will be this sash chain itself, and we'll see what happens here. I did get 1 flight in on the airplane with this setup, and it worked just fine. And that was at the beginning of June, first week of June, after completing a replumbing of the pitot static system. We took the airplane back to Aurora and passed the transponder and pitot static test with flying colors. So we did have to ream the holes out just a little bit in the rudder horn, and also on the Scott tail wheel arm to get the links to fit. They're a little bigger diameter, but they seem nice and secure, and hopefully we are not going to have any more problems with losing the tail wheel steering chain due to one of those crummy little weak links that were on here before. Not exactly sure what caused it to break. On the pre-flight it looked okay that day, although Aurora did have a couple of good divots along the taxiway there that I recall hitting, one especially taxiing out for runway 33 there. So anyway, stainless steel barrel link, quick connector, whatever they want to refer to those as, brand new chains. So hopefully we're going to be good for a while there. Now let's talk about a couple of the other things going on over the last couple months that I've been working on as well. One of the things that I noted when I was doing some work on the airplane and giving it a good look over was that I had a wire tie, zip tie, that I had used to loom these wires together, where it runs through the rudder and out to the tail light strobe, was poking on my fabric a bit, and so I decided to get in there and cut them all off. And the other thing I noticed too was that these connectors all had little ears on them, which were protruding, so I figured I might as well snip those off as well while I'm at it. So I snipped them off. I'll take a file to them and smooth them, and then I'll put a piece of electrical tape, wrap these so they stay bound together. But just the little things that need correction here and there.
Alright, the Skybolt has, this one anyway, I know some guys do make some modifications and change things to either a Grove style gear or the Marquardt style gear, but that aside, I have the bungee style gear on here. And at the beginning of June, after getting the pitot system replumbed and doing the pre-flight to head out to Aurora, I found the rubber bumper pad, which goes in here between the top of the gear legs and the truss, laying in the belly of the airplane. And apparently the adhesive that I used to bond that 1/4 inch rubber pad to the bottom of the truss frame assembly there, apparently the adhesive did not like the paint that I used to paint the steel tubing, and the bond separated. So at that point then I had steel on steel. The top of the landing gear leg here was actually riding onto the steel spacer core. It's a 1 inch square tube that's welded to the bottom of the bungee truss assembly. So I tried to splay the landing gear out to no avail, but I was very careful, and the last thing I really wanted to do was damage the landing gear attachments here. You know, they're not very thick steel here and here. By trying to apply force to spread the gear. So ultimately what I ended up doing was cutting the bungees off the airplane, which was a very painful experience because one, they're not cheap, and two, they had been on the airplane for less than a year. And I was not looking forward to replacing them until about the 5 or 6 year mark. These are about 900 pounds of force each bungee. There's 3 on each side, total of 6. It's a lot of force to overcome. But with the help of Doug Partle, he and I took a look at the situation and what might have caused that rubber pad to debond, as well as just a better way of doing things. And we came up with the idea of trapping that rubber plate, that rubber bump pad rather, in between some steel plates. And you can see here where I drilled through from the front to the back using AN3 bolts to secure these plates, and the rubber pad is secured in here, and then with a adhesive. This time I used polyurethane adhesive. In addition to the adhesive and the plates trapping that rubber pad, I did put one screw up through here where there's some space in between where the landing gear legs are. One sheet metal screw going through the 1/4 inch rubber pad and up into that 1 inch steel tube. So the bungees are replaced. I suppose if you wanted to, you could space those and bolts a little further apart. I did a 2D, a little bigger than 2D on here. As you can see, I do have some extra room. If I wanted to, I could go further apart, but this is nice and stable the way that it is. And again, this pad is trapped now. These steel plates hang down a 1/4 inch from the bottom of that square steel tube that this rubber pad's bonded to. Lots of polyurethane adhesive in there, with all the paint scraped off the steel this time, down to bare metal, scuffed up, scuffed the rubber real good, so hopefully we have a good long lasting bond in there. And I now have new bungees, so hopefully I won't be messing around with these again for another 5 or 6 years. So that was rather time consuming as well. Now, being as I had to pull the belly pan off the airplane anyway to get access to these bungees, I decided that it was time to go ahead and get the smoke system installed in the airplane. And that took several days of putting the tank in the only location that really it fits in this airplane, and that was just forward of the front seat pan. And here's my front control stick. It just clears by about, oh, I don't know, 1/2 inch as far as the tank goes. And there's just a little bit of clearance between the truss assembly and the tank as well. This is like about a 3.5 gallon tank. The smoke system was gifted to me by another pilot, and he didn't want it in the Starduster 2 that he bought, so he brought it down one day and said, here you go. Again, it's about 3.5 gallons, 3.6 maybe, something like that. Smoking airplanes system, came with the pump and everything. But I did have to fabricate my own mounts to hold the tank nice and secure. I may have over-engineered this, but what I did was I used the 2-inch aluminum angle. It's 1/8 of an inch thick. As you can see, there's holes that go through this flange here, and these screw into mounting nuts, I guess, basically, that are embedded in the tank itself. And as far as securing these angles to the airframe, I used U-bolts. One towards the back here of these, and the other one here. You can see it attaches this longeron here. It's at an angle, and it is spaced down as well. It doesn't ride flat on the fuselage tubing. It's spaced down because otherwise you have a vertical clearance problem. At least I would have, because of the kick that I put in my front stick, as well as the bottom of the fuel tank some. So there's kind of more of a rear looking forward shot of this whole thing. Might be a little over-engineered, but when you've got 3.5 gallons of smoke oil in there and you're pulling 4 or 5 G's, I don't want that tank going anywhere at all. So that's a look at it from the bottom, left and right. We'll go up top, take a look. Alright, this is looking from the top. The pump is mounted up on the top of this tank. I thought about removing the pump and building a mount and attaching it to some of the airframe tubing here, but actually in the long run this was the best place for it. It's out of the way of the stick. There's enough clearance on the stick in the back of the pump, in the back of the tank, where I'm not
going to run into control throw issues. There's a slight gap here between the tank and the truss. Coming out of the pump, I do have a regulator valve, and then into 1/4 inch TFE braided, and that punches through the firewall there with bulkhead fitting, and then out the firewall engine side here with this T-fitting, and then I've got braided lines running into my fittings on the collector for this 6-in-1 exhaust. This is a number 4 AN pipe and flare. What I did was tapped this pipe threaded side of the fitting about a 1/4 inch or so for a screw, which I then drove into the fitting to knock down the size of the hole, and I drilled 3 30-second holes then through the screw that after I cut off the extra length of the screw, and then coming around to the right side, second injector and my steel braided line running up to the bulkhead fitting here. So that's how the smoke oil is going to be delivered into the exhaust. So this is looking down into the airplane from above. You can see where the smoke oil tank sits in relation to the seat pan and the stick. Okay, so this is going to be a little hard to shoot. Now I am sitting in the front seat, and you can see that I got plenty of clearance between my leg and this flow control valve. The stick up front clears the back of the pump motor. I did have to shift the motor on its steel bracket a bit from where it originally was. Now there's a vent line here that I'm going to have to punch a hole in the belly skin of the airplane, run a tube down. It's basically an inverted, when you're inverted, little vent line is probably going to fill up with some oil, and once you go back upright, it will drain out into either the tank or the belly of the airplane. But so my filler cap's going to be over here, and everything is good and out of the way as far as the tank. Barely makes it though. Barely makes it. And in my airplane, this is really pretty much the only place that I could have mounted this smoke tank, in part because of limited space and also because of center of gravity. So that's a big thing with this airplane. As you burn off fuel from this main tank here, the airplane becomes more and more tail heavy because the tank's in front of the CG range area. And the nice thing about this smoke oil tank, where it's at, it's actually in front of the CG range area. So having smoke oil in here all the time is not going to affect me negatively in any manner, other than just a few extra pounds of weight in the equation. So this was really the most practical and about the only choice that I had. Had I mounted it behind the pilot seat, the rear seat, that definitely would have posed CG issues for me, as well as there just really wasn't any room back there because my battery is back there behind the seat already. Now, as far as on and off for the smoke, real simple. I was initially going to use probably one of these buttons up on top of the stick for intermittent smoke, and I may still. For right now, I'm not going to. I'm going to see how I get along with the switch that I put on the instrument panel here, and of course I have to still label it, but it's going to be, you know, up is on, down is off, as far as the smoke. One other project, I'm not sure if I'm going to get around to it, because I really want to get the bird back in the air, as I'm going to replace this turn coordinator with the UAvionics AV30, which is really a cool display. It's going to have the skid indicator on it, but instead of just the turn coordinator, which this one seems to bounce around in flight all the time anyway, it'll be an artificial horizon. And of course, if you've looked at it at all, it has several little windows around it that you can turn on and off and display different data, such as true airspeed, ground speed, all that stuff if you feed GPS information into it, as well as a DG tape across the top. Now you can either slave it to a GPS signal, navigator signal, or you can leave it unslaved and it will act just like a regular DG and probably precess, I don't know. So that might wait a little bit here, because I do want to get the airplane back in the air and get it flying. It's been several weeks since I've flown it, and I'm missing it right now. So we'll see. My next flight video that I do, you'll be able to tell whether I've replaced it or not. So now it's just a matter of getting everything put back together on the airplane. Yeah, the one piece of left side skin that I had to take off, and the cowling and the wheel pants. Hopefully a couple days worth of work and she'll be ready to go again. Stay tuned.
I'm gonna pop my altimeter on, so you'll pick me up here in a second in case I got to do a loop. Alright. Did you say you're gonna do a loop? No, circle around in case I get too tight. Nah, I didn't think so.
Yeah, I got you on airspeed on.
Yes, I do. Quiet, you on the radio yet?
Yeah, I took you down.
Is that a yes or a no?
That's a yes, I got you.
Guys, I'm going over the power frequency. Okay. Can you hear me on the radio? Alright, can you hear me on the radio? Can you hear me on the radio?
Oh, we hear ya.
Brian doesn't hear you, but we do. Yeah, dude, I've been calling you for like ever since I left the truck. Okay, cool. Hey, see if there's a way to lock that so it doesn't happen. There should be a button on there that locks it. Hey, there's an airport right here, so we need to look at fuel and see about picking some up so we don't have to worry about it later in the day. I'm thinking like once we were getting ready to move from this area, like literally the airport is like right next door. Like it is about a mile and a half away. Perfect, thanks, bud. Yes, Matt.
Okay, cool. Alright, I'd like to turn to the right, head back east a little bit, unless you got somewhere you want to go.
You want to go off towards southeast?
I'll let you lead.
You're fine. They just have a policy if you get so far behind that they got to shut you off before they got to talk to you before they skip you any more parts. Yeah, well, priority, and it's hard to do when you don't have the computer working. Want to go down to Glendale?
Sure, why not?
It's really easy with my computer going. Yeah, we can give them a flyby with smoke.
Okay.
Yes, and your smoke looks just about right. Maybe not too thick. Talking to me?
Maybe. You're going eastbound by Morris?
Oh yeah, one below us. Yeah, that's kind of clear my field. What are you guys flying? Cowboy. Or the Maw, which one's better? For Wyatt Herb. Cowboy better, alright, Cowboy. What's that, McGregor? I love it.
I'm on. I'm coming up on your 5. I'll keep a reasonable distance.
I hate it. There's no wind. What is the wind chill here in a minute?
Do you want me to leave? You want to make east to west?
Oh, the hangar door is open.
Alright, I need to catch up just a bit.
Brenda, if you read, you got 5 planes overhead. This is a new smoke system.
Roger that, I got mine on. Not sure why it's not picking it up there.
quarry.
Okay. We're going to swing a little to the west to stay out of Aurora.
Okay, that's a good one. Just doing the something like what? Are you still there?
What's that, Don?
Did you say you're going home?
Nope. I just figured I'd get over here. Here we go. Okay.
Oh, that needs a little work.
We ended up doing a turn.
And you still see me?
I still see you, yeah.
I'm gonna try a hammerhead.
Okay, you're a good part for me. Looks good to me.
Not gonna work. East to west.
Alright, you go ahead. You got an eyeball on me, Don?
I say what?
I'm just looking for you.
I'm eastbound right over the highway. I'm at 3400. This is good air.
Yeah, it's nice up there. I'm at 3,800 west of the quarry.
I'm east of the highway.
Okay, did you just smoke? I'm about at the point where I should head back as far as fuel done.
Hey, you want to lead?
I will let you because I may land long today.
Hey, I'm heading northeast towards my runway.
South and west are you looking at, according to ATSC?
The Italian DOI. Ray, I'm going to 22A.
Over to 22A, roger.
Frequency with hotel, starting the pattern to the west for a second.
Papa Golf traffic, 725 Papa Golf, turning left crosswind, departing to the southeast, Papa Golf.
South traffic, incremental 79 on top of Hotel 7, southwest, one of the left base for 3 full stop and run.
Papa Ground, traffic, 7.11.
Most traffic, Seminole Sonics is downwind for 361.
John, where you're at?
Say what? I'm just approaching the 36 mark downwind. I'm right over Riley Field.
Okay.
07 Sahara 238, Single Hotel, taking off D7, departing to the south, please, sir.
I'm about 3 miles south of the field.
Helen Ringhill left base.
Papa Ground, traffic, 7.11 Golf.
And Lewis traffic, right at 2 5 lane, 7 west. Inbound for 02.
traffic, Cessna 13 uniform, turning left crosswind for 36 Morris.
Mike entering down, Poplar Grove traffic, 67 Mike entering left downwind 30, Poplar Grove.
Gulf traffic, Skyhouse 2782 Hotel is 5.5 miles on the southwest on the 45 for runway 27 Gulf.
Morris traffic, Cessna 13 uniform, turning left downwind for 36 Morris.
Morris traffic, Fairmount Sonics is on base for 36 Morris.
Load traffic, flight 6180, F-6 takeoff runway 27, part 8 to the southwest. Gulf traffic 665, Pandas departing runway.
Fairmount Sonics turning final for 36 Morris.
Northwest.
Poplar Grove traffic, 67 Mike, turning left base, 30 Poplar Grove.
Ground traffic, 7.11 Gulf, turning crosswind for
And Lewis traffic, 5 planes at the expressway, inbound to 02.
The landing runway 36.
Poplar Grove traffic, 67 Mike, turning left base, 30 Poplar Grove.
Lewis traffic, Skyhouse 238, single hotel, departing pattern to the south, Lewis traffic.
Upper ground traffic, 7.11 Gulf, turning left downwind for 0.
Morris traffic, Cessna 13 uniform, left base, 36 Morris.
And Lewis traffic, the biplane's on a long left base, 302. 36 Morris.
Lewis traffic, 11614, taking out Papa Road 27, flying to the westward.
F mile final, 6 mile Poplar Grove.
Gulf traffic, Cessna 72 Hotel is left downwind, runway 27 Gulf.
Lewis traffic, the biplane is on a downwind for 27.
Morris traffic, Cessna 40 Whiskey Lima, about 3 miles to the north, inbound landing. Morris. Lewis traffic, stock 6180 X-ray, departing the pattern to the south, Lewis.
And Lewis traffic, biplane's left base for 27.
Mark 10, traffic 7.
Switch over, Ray.
Inbound 31, Mark 10.
And Lewis traffic.
Weather, wind, 320 at 7.
Gulf traffic, 272 Hotel, turn left base for 27.
Station 1-3 uniform, departing the pattern towards the northeast from Morris.
And the biplane is clear at Charlie.
He's going to be on 3 mile final. Somebody walked on you, John.
27's the active.
27 is going active?
Yes.
Alright, we'll change. Lewis traffic, 34X, right. Making left downwind traffic for 27 Lewis. We are just west of the runway here for 9. Of course.
Blue traffic, 672 Mike Alpha, taking off runway 27, departing the pattern to southwest. Blue.
South traffic, 2.66 Mike X-ray, crosswind 27, runway, no, or runway 27, take off. South traffic, we're catching up, 1 mile final. Alright, Bush Cat, I got you in sight, I'll come in behind you. Okay, I got you in sight as well, I'll make it quick. Oh, don't be in a hurry. Okay, gas, undercarriage, mixture, prop, seatbelts. Runway 27 Echo. It'll be a low pass. I'm going to come down on the runway. Oh, over. Traffic 34 X-ray is clear. 27M. Golf. 202 Quebec, taking runway 27, departing west, fluid. Morse traffic, Sky K979 Victor, 8 miles to the northeast, doing the VOR Alpha approach, Morse traffic.
Say what?
You see a broken chain on the tailwheel?
Tailwheel. I thought you were waiting on me to taxi over together.
No, I was, but do you see a broken chain?
Looks like it's to the left one.
Again. That's one I booked last time. Fluid traffic, Skyhawk 2054.
It's not broke.
Departing runway 27, head to the left.
Right one stretched.
Fluid traffic, Cherokee 654 is about 3 southwest, be entering the pattern for 27 shortly. Cherokee 654, Lewis.
track 79 Victor, 5 miles to the northeast, unit 0 Alpha.
There's traffic 654 on left downwind for 27, Lewis.
We got room to sneak by that twin.
Can you go ahead and let you go on? No, go ahead, 9er Charlie, we're going to let the 5 planes go through. Roger.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Traffic to Skyline 5059 Charlie, taking from runway 27 to the west.
Fluid traffic 20540, departing the pattern to the west. Lewis.
Fluid traffic 654, left base for 27.
Papa is on about a 8.5 mile final. Practice localizer 2, planning to break it off Tuesday.
Traffic along your 5 back on departing 27 to the southeast.
Traffic 654 on final 27.